Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
Victoria.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter. We're recording this on Good Friday. I'm in a really, really good mood. I'm
we're
just
both off today, which is beautiful. I have not had a day off, like a holiday, since New Year's. This is my first off day off. Well, and I think it's because like we get the week between Christmas and New Year's off, so I think like that's where the bulk of our like holiday goes.
Yeah,
which I'm not complaining. I'd rather have that off than a random day here and there.
Yeah, and I'm the exact opposite. I like having the random days. Like going an entire month not having a day off is that I don't like that. Wow, so you've had 4 months practically like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken like a couple PTO days off. Like last week I had to take a PTO day off. I had to take a PTO day to take an exam.
Moving.
And then we took PTO. I took like 2 days of PTO when we moved, which was probably like the best thing I did. Because I was like about to like not take any PTO. And it was just probably like a better because like, I don't know if I talked about this, like our move like was a move from like hell, to be honest. Because like we didn't get the, I don't know if did I talk to you about this? Like we didn't.
I think you talked about it with I was about to say Sebastian with Juan when Juan was on.
That's right.
About how they told you guys the different places.
Yeah, that's right. So we didn't get a large enough truck. So then like that Monday was like I spent all that Monday driving back and forth between Raleigh and Greensboro to like finish
and how
moving.
Far is that drive?
What?
How far is that drive, Raleigh and Greensboro?
Little under an hour and a half.
Oof,
yeah.
Still too long.
So, like...
To be going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I think I only had to go... I didn't have to go back and forth that day. Like, Saturday, I went, like, 2 or 3 times back and forth between Raleigh and Greensboro. But Monday, I only did, like, the one trip. Because luckily, Juan was working in the office that day. So I called him. I'm like, dude, like, we're switching cars. Because I need your car to finish packing. And then, like, I was, like, trying to, like, clean, and our vacuum just, like, bit the dust and was like, no, thank you. You can leave me here. And I'm like, okay, vacuum.
Oof. Well, I'm glad that you were able to take the day off and that you guys moved, and it looks like you've gotten a lot more, like, into the routine. Even the background looks like you've set some stuff up.
Yes. And, like, I'm waiting so, like, crap, I just dropped my iPad. Well, so I'm waiting, so I have, like, a picture I'm putting there, but I have to get it framed. It's, like, this, like, really pretty, so my dad used to work for U.S. Airways back in, like, the 90s.
Oh, really?
And it was, like, Piedmont Airlines when he was there. And so he had this really beautiful print of an airplane from, like, when he worked there that I'm gonna, like, put right there. So, like, that's why, like, I'm waiting. I need to get, like, I'm going next week in Newark. So I will probably try to take...
Into work? Did you say into work?
Yeah.
Okay. The way you said it, like, your words kind of... So I thought you said into Newark.
No,
like Newark,
I wish. Newark is a lovely why are you going there?
Newark?
I think so.
N-E-W...
Yeah.
N-E-W-A-R-K? No, I hate
Oh, really?
airport.
Okay, then maybe not. Did you see, speaking of airports, that Charlotte was the number 6 most traveled airport in the world this year?
Wow, not surprised.
We were, like, bigger than, like, 2 China locations. Granted, I think it's because China's pretty much been on lockdown this whole year. But still, like, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And a lot of people, if you're just going through Charlotte Airport, you should try the Bojangles. I always recommend that because you don't really get Bojangles a lot of places. And Charlotte Airport has it. So all my friends that come through Charlotte, they always say, "Yeah, I stopped by that Bojangles. The only time I can get it."
Or if you're
All
traveling
they
through
need
the
now is a
Dallas
cookout.
airport, there's a Whataburger in Dallas.
I need to. I've never had Whataburger. I'm going to Dallas.
Glorious.
I'll be going to YWLS. Yeah, I was like WLS. YWLS. I'll be going, you guys. So hope to see you there. But I'm gonna have to try Whataburger.
Okay, I will have Sebastian text you what you need to get, because he worked at Whataburger in college and like knows like all the secrets and like what to do and everything.
I want secret stuff. Ooh, maybe I'll like record a quick vlog about that. That'd be fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what are your Easter plans?
So we were going to go out of town. We're not going to go out of town now.
Who's we?
So my family.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now, like, to Easter, I guess, is going to start today. Because it's Good Friday, so there's an Easter service at church that I'm going to, that I'm probably going to join. I had a meeting with the pastor's wife yesterday, the campus pastor's wife.
You want to say what church it is?
Yeah, why not? Freedom House.
I think they're starting a school. That's why I wanted you. I think they're starting a school.
I think they are.
Is what
I think they're doing a because what will be smart is if they did not even necessarily a school, but so when I was living in Virginia Beach, the church I went to, they were part of a program. It was a one schoolroom type program. So the kids would go to this place, I think it was at the Y, and it was technically kindergartners through 12th graders, but it was one teacher and they would help. Everything was like hands-on. So you would do your curriculum, but they had the one teacher that would help them if they needed help. And then like I want to say like 9th through 12th graders, they were like expected to help like kindergartners, 3rd graders if they needed help with different things. But the idea was like back to Little House on the Prairie days about how you were learning. Everybody was together, no matter your grade. You were all together learning from each other and things like that. I think they're going to do something similar to that because that's becoming a lot more popular.
Really? I didn't notice.
Where you kind of...
I know that.
Yeah. It's become a lot more popular where you kind of just like come together as a community, and because I feel like it was significantly cheaper than a private school, and it wasn't public. I don't know how much it costs, but let's say, so the average private school in Charlotte is about, I'll say, average $12,000 a year.
That might be on the lower end.
My friend always jokes Chapel Hill is like $4,000. Yeah, on the lower end. I mean, there's private schools in Charlotte that are $30,000 a year, but that's beside the point. So let's say $12,000 when you average all of them out. So it's about $12,000 a year. A one-room schoolhouse would be like $2,000, maybe something like that. Which isn't bad, especially if you split up over 12 months.
So they would do that as like a classroom or just like an after-school program?
Oh, it's a class, like a school.
Okay. Interesting. Like I wonder, like with the high school students, like all the AP exams and like those AP classes, like is that just not the kind of
APs are out, girl? APs out. Dual enrollment to college is in.
Good point. That is a good point. That's like one thing like I regret not doing. Like I really wish APs were not like push on us so much. Like because like I had the worst teachers like for AP exams. Like, and it's nothing like not knocking the teachers, but I just don't think like they were given the resources necessarily to like know how to teach it. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
it was just like there was a lot more expected because I remember like my AP statistics class was taught by the computer science teacher, and so it was just like.
And that's at a public school. That's crazy. So, that sounds like, very private school. Your PE teachers teaching how.
Yeah, because there was too many of us that signed up. So it got like passed on to another math teacher. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it got passed on to another math teacher, even though like that's not his forte. And it was just like, I just don't think they were given like the right resources to like prepare us. Like, why am I learning statistics from a teacher that is like his specialty is computer science? Like it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And so,
and I think
well in our county too, if you opt out to taking the AP exam, they will drop a letter grade.
Oh wow.
Yes. And but we also had to pay for it. Like, we
Oh,
were
oh, they didn't really.
yeah,
Wow,
so
I'm
like
pretty
we were
sure.
expected to pay for it. Granted, if like you're on like free or reduced lunch or whatever, like you can get a waiver to where the school will pay for it. But if your parents can afford it, you're paying for it. And if you don't take, you drop the letter grade. Because like there would be probably I would not have taken a few because like I just
Same.
had like an awful teacher, and it was just like they were okay. They were great
It was a waste of my
teachers,
time.
but not for the AP exam.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think to the problem is like the AP exam is the exact. It's not necessarily a problem. This is just how it is. It's exactly the same for everybody all across the country. So if you just don't have a teacher equipped, then
yeah.
oh well, you just wasted your time and money taking this test. Whereas if you do the dual enrollment, so I think that's what a lot of them do is like you do that. Then once you get to a certain grade, you just go ahead and start doing dual enrollment,
Yep.
and then you get your associates by the time you graduate high school, and then you can just do 2 years in college and do your bachelor.
Yeah.
So it's
if I were to do
I think
it,
they're going to do a system
if
like
I were
that.
to do
I don't
it
know
over
though.
again,
I think
because
so.
so dual enrollment, it's early college is what we call it in public schools. So if
Yeah.
I were to do it over again, I think I would have done early college. So then I'd graduate with my associates. But that wasn't really like, it was an option, but it wasn't like a big option, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't like.
I think I knew one person that did it.
I knew like
ever.
2 or 3, but I feel like it's a lot more popular now.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I just wish like, or even like, I remember I had friends that instead of taking AP courses, they like went to the community college just to take courses in like the afternoons. And so I wish that was like discussed upon, like that, because it's like, okay, like you're taking an AP.
I wish they gave us all of our options.
Yeah. Like if you're taking an AP exam, it was like, you may or may not pass. Like, it's not a guarantee you're going to get college credit. Where if you're like dual enrollment or like just taking a class at a community college, you're going to get college credit as long as you pass the exam or class.
Right.
Like,
right.
you're not, like, it's not tied to you passing a standardized exam.
And I think also, too, like, you don't know, like, I didn't know really about the early college thing until I went to college. So you don't know what you don't know. So we don't know that was an option unless someone tells you. But I think now people, especially because people are just trying to get away from public school, people are now like expanding their mind, just seeing so many other options. And I like that Freedom House is going to do something like that because I really do. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Christian education. I will always, like, if you ask me where you should send your kids, I would definitely always say send them to a Christian school. Like, I had a great experience. I came out decent. I mean, obviously it's never perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I have people in my year, actually I have a couple people in my year who are now atheists. So it, yeah. So it really does depend, but I do think you have a more fighting chance. And, they may be atheists, but they can't say, I pray that God's going to change their heart by the time they die. But when they go to heaven, they can't say they didn't know. Because we were told. We were told the truth. We were told, stuff like that. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, so I'm going to that church tonight for a Good Friday service. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to do Love Life in the morning. And then Sunday, I'll be at church again, praising God that He is risen.
Yep, but this is like, Easter's my favorite time a year. Like, I'm not a huge, I'm not a huge Christmas fan, to be honest. Like,
really?
I just feel like it's gotten so, like, materialized. And it's, like, kind of lost the point. So, like, Christmas is not necessarily, like, my favorite, like, religious holiday. It's Easter, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like there's just a lot. I mean, Christmas celebrating Jesus' birth is great. And Easter, but I just feel like there's just so, like, Easter's so much more, when you really think about the whole reason for the religion, well, yeah, I guess you could say for the religion, the whole reason why we can be happy and, like, have hope is because Jesus is alive again. Hello, Sebastian.
See, he's been wanting to do this on my work calls, and I told him, like, a hard no.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, he's been wanting to, like,
so
he's
inappropriate.
like, if I just, like, walked up behind you on your work calls. So those who are listening, my husband just walked up behind making a face He's been dying to do that in my work calls. And I'm like, no. And so
he should do one of those things, you know, like when the pandemic first happened, everybody had those like silly stories, like the baby would run in,
yes,
or like someone wasn't paying attention and they would just start doing Sebastian. Like if it's a chill call, he should do that.
yeah. Well, he
you get the wrong
baby.
supervisor.
Okay, you were loud.
Maybe not necessarily like that. I'm thinking like.
Have you not watched The Emperor's New Groove?
Oh, I didn't even put two and two together. I was just like, okay. That's
so what he really wants to do,
2022. Why are you saying
what he really wants to do? So
That's
I have
funny.
like a morning call with my boss every morning. He just wants to sit in and like have the camera turn on, and it's just him, not me, and it's to see what my boss's reaction would be. And I go, no, you can't do that.
No, maybe if you guys were like your boss and you were friend. Well, even though that's. No, you can't.
I'm like, no, you can't do that.
If he was a child, that'd be funny.
I mean,
well, you know, if he a little bit more literally a child, like when 3-year-olds do something like that, it's like, oh, that's so cute.
My God. Okay, so I made all the boys, like I made myself, Sebastian, and Juan an Easter basket. I bought us some water guns because I thought it'd be funny, and now I'm kind of regretting it. He's in the bathroom filling up the water gun.
Oh my goodness!
No! Stop! We're recording.
Excuse me, sir. We are recording a
we
podcast.
Are recording a podcast, please. And you're getting all my fancy technology wet. Stop! So sorry, Mal.
Sir,
Well,
you have to leave that till after.
I know, seriously. And my gun's my gun's empty.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready.
Okay, what are you doing? Anything exciting for Easter?
We are going to Saturday night mass. So I will say, like, so in the Catholic Church, when you're going through confirmation, it's tied to Easter. So when you are getting confirmed, it's like the Saturday night, like Easter mass. And I just thought it was like the whole like what the Catholic Church does for Holy Week is just so beautiful. Like the Thursday night service, the Friday night service, and then like the Saturday night service. So like it's just like you really feel like you're there in the Bible, if that makes sense. Like it's just like all of, like the traditional aspect of it. It's just like so beautiful because like Thursday night it's like related to like his last night, and then Friday like you don't take communion on Friday because he's dead, and so like he's not alive. So then like they kind of like lock up like the Eucharist, and you don't take communion, and like there's like kind of like everyone's kind of like in mourning in a way because it's like he died. And then Saturday night it's just like so beautiful, like everyone's like, yay, he's risen. We start outside, and if there's any Catholics listening, I've only had one Easter service because I got confirmed in 2019. And then pandemic hit. So if I get some of these details wrong, don't at me. But it was just so beautiful. So it's like we started outside in front of the fire because, you know, like in the Catholic Church where they have like the big candle that's like the light of like Christ that burns all year. So that's when the candle gets restarted. So you have a fresh candle starting on Easter. And so there's a fire outside, so they light that candle with a fire. Everyone has candles, and then they pass the light around. So it's like everybody's getting like the light of Christ. And then everyone walks in the mass together, sits down, and you have like all and then like those who are like already inside, like the light will just get passed around. So like the whole like church is just filled up with like candlelight. And it's just so
That's
beautiful. So we are going to do that Saturday night at the cathedral here in Raleigh, which is absolutely gorgeous. Like, Google pictures of Raleigh Cathedral, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's one thing I do enjoy about Catholic buildings. They are gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so we're doing that Saturday, and then Sunday we're doing Easter with my family, my parents, my sister, my aunts and uncles, my grandma, and my cousins with my cousin's new little baby. It's his first Easter.
Are you gonna go to church with them? Or
no, we're
you'll meet
like
them after? Okay.
doing like Sunday lunch.
Okay.
So, well, which reminds me, I need to figure out what we're bringing food wise.
Wow, yeah, that's one thing about being an adult. You actually have to provide now. Like, you can't. Before, you can just show up.
I miss the days where I could just show up.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, let us know what you're bringing. I'm like, I don't cook.
I think I'm bringing something I forgot after service, we're doing Easter lunch too with our family, with my family. I said our, with my family. I think I'm supposed to bring something as well, actually.
Like your extended family's all there too?
Yeah, my extended family, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to do like Sam's Club potato salad.
Hey, that's...
Sebastian wants to bring stuffing. I'm like, dude, it's...
My mom brought in, like, this morning, she called me. She's like, hey, can you open the door? I left the groceries out there. And I was, like, looking through. She's making stuffing. And I was like, oh, okay.
I'm like, babe, it's not Thanksgiving. He's like, stuffing is good for every occasion. I'm like, okay, you do you.
Yeah, I guess. I was like, stuffing?
I mean, granted, like, we're having, like, ham. So, I mean, stuffing's good on ham.
Well, now, ham is good for every location. Well, it's good for every location, but every occasion as well. Ham for every holiday. I'm pro ham. Yes. Honey baked ham.
So I think we're gonna do that, and then he wants to bring beans, like pinto, the canned like Bush's baked beans. I'm like, can we not be like a little bit more fancy and get like canned green beans? Like,
yeah. That's funny. Baked bean. I after this we got to get into the I was gonna say the lesson. Oh my goodness, my brain is like not here. We have to get into the stories. But last time I went to my friend's house, it was so funny. It was like a group of us. She invited some of her husband's friends. So I came late and I was making my plate and I was like, wow, these beans are so good. Who made these beans? And her husband's best friend was like, I did, he was like telling me all this stuff. And then the wife was like, it's literally just a can of baked beans. And I was like, are you serious?
Did they change my family's famous baked beans? I go, Bush's baked beans? He goes, yeah.
I think they changed their recipe because I don't know if I was just super hungry, but they were so good.
They are excellent. Like, I will give them that. They are excellent.
I'm sure they're full of so much sugar, though.
That is why they're excellent.
When I think about it. But this new recipe, delicioso. Okay. We should get into it. I know you guys does everyone here love listening to us? Yeah. Wait. Okay, everybody, stop. Calm down. Okay. I'm sorry, that was so funny to me. Okay, so let's get into the stories. Are you ready for some tea?
Crap, I hit my mic.
Clink.
Well, I will say because your camera is like on my right, so I was like going up to do your camera and just hit the mic, not realizing like, no, I should focus on where my camera is.
That's funny. I think you're on my right too. I'm still doing well. I think you're on my right too. That's so funny. Okay. So I guess there's not like a story with this. I want to talk about Vic sent this to me.
I have not watched it all the way through. I haven't had time, so you can talk about it.
Okay. Well, Vic sent it to me, and I had heard Claire, shout out Claire, I don't know if she's listening, but Claire is in like a clip. Well, like they were just doing you know how you just use like photos of pro-life people randomly. There's like one of Claire like with her sign up. It's just super random. Like you can't even really tell it's her unless you know it's her. So she posted, she's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm in a Labrant family video," and I was like, "Oh okay." It didn't occur to me really what it was about. I was just like, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of theirs. Do you like them?
I like them. I think they're like really cute and really sweet. And like,
yeah,
I don't know. I follow them on social media. Like, I like their content.
Yeah. See, I don't know. They just come off like, when I think of what's a perfect family, I think of them, and I just don't like that. So I've unfollowed them years ago. I feel like, but I will say
too much. Like, I don't know. Don't put them so high on a pedestal. Like, let them like follow them for their content. Like, it's really good.
Oh, but I also hate that. I hate pranks. I think that's so dumb. Like,
they're not known for their pranks.
I don't know. Yeah, they are. They're like doing all that prank stuff, pranking Everly and like.
Well, no, they don't do that anymore.
Oh,
like I would say like they do like a lot of like dances with Everly for like TikTok because she's an excellent dancer, and then it's more just like family content of like family lifestyle content because they have like 3 kids. She's pregnant with her 4th. And then
I knew that girl stays pregnant. Good for her though.
And then but a lot of it too, like I know them for like the carpool karaoke's that he did with Everly.
See, I don't.
That's like, how I know them. I don't know them for like pranking Everly at all.
Okay, see, like a 2-minute video, maybe once every 2 minute, a 2-second video every once in a while, fun or whatever. I don't know. That's not my type of content that I like to consume. So I just stopped. And I personally just don't like perfect looking things. That's just me. Yeah. I know that's different. But so, and also too, there's also, you know, the argument over, well, never mind. I don't want to get into that. But when I saw that, I was like, well, first of all, I subscribed to their YouTube channel to support, and I liked the video because I want to support. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. This is a career-ending move.
Yeah, I could not believe
I'm shocked that it is. I suggest everybody watch it, and if you are
whole thing, right?
Oh, I watched the entire
thing.
Can
you? Because it was 40 minutes, and I just didn't have time. Can you give us like a synopsis?
Yeah. So essentially, they took the pro-love route in the sense of they were saying it wasn't even like we are anti-abortion. It wasn't even that, which I watched the full thing, and then I legit watched like 10 videos against it because I wanted to hear like, what was the other side saying? And it really wasn't like, you can tell people don't really consume anti-abortion content because it was incredibly mild. It was definitely the pro-love route in the sense it talked, the majority of the video was just about helping the mom. Like, what can we do to help the mom?
Showing her that it's like her life's not going to end with a kid.
Yes. They had Amy Ford on from Embrace Grace, which was, this was a huge thing for her. I know she was like, thank you, God. And I'm curious if like she reached out to them or if they reached out to her. I'm very curious about how this documentary was made. Like, I'm very glad, and I'm not one of those people that are like skeptical, like, what was the purpose of this? I don't feel that way at all. And I am pretty critical of them, but I don't feel that way at all. I'm very grateful that they made it, and I'm just curious how it came about. Because I believe the question that he posed was something like, what happens if we can love them both or something like that? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. This is what I love this. And he said, even after this documentary, abortion is still going to be legal. Like he said, he's not here to like take away, like to make abortion illegal. He said something like that, which, you know, I think we should, but that wasn't the point of the video. And I really, especially for a secular audience, I thought it was well done because he interviewed women who He interviewed someone who almost had it. They went in for the appointment, but the baby survived. Mm-hmm. They interviewed a woman who wanted to have an abortion, but she decided not to. And now she has a business. They interviewed, like I said, Amy Ford and her Embrace Grace. Everybody should be involved in Embrace Grace. Amy Ford, not to like brag, but when I was on Focus on the Family, she was there too. Super sweet. And she remembered me when I saw her in January. So that felt kind of cool. It was just very much, how do we help the woman? Like, what can we do? He interviewed his grandmother who was going to abort his mom, and her boy, I cannot remember. I only watched it once. I want to say it was her boyfriend's parents wanted her to abort Cole's mom.
I didn't know that.
But her parents ran him out of the yacht, off the lawn or something like that. And they had the baby. So I think it was just so great. I want to talk a little bit about some of the critiques that people had, and not necessarily, I wish I had the technology / the time to go through some of the videos and like kind of debunk some of the things. One thing I want to say, a lot of the people who
that could be a really good like TikTok reel content. Like you do like segments of like, you don't have to do like the full video, but just kind of do like little clips out of it where you debunk it. So like you post like say like 10 TikToks for one video of like debunking in segments.
That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe I can do that between today and tomorrow because since I have today off, I have more free time. But yeah, so one thing I wanted to say is a lot of people were like, well, Savannah had a baby out of wedlock and sin is sin. Her having the baby out of wedlock, her having that baby was sin, and someone having an abortion is sin. I want to say something about that really quick. Two things. The first thing is having a baby isn't sin. Having sex before marriage is sin. So I think that's just something that we should work on what we're talking about. And I'll give the person right. Having sex before marriage and having an abortion is sin, and it's all the same to God. I will give you that. Sin separates you from God. It's all the same, sure. But I just want to clarify, having the baby is not, getting pregnant is not a sin. The sin is the sex, because even people who are having sex before marriage that aren't pregnant, it's the
not
act.
The result.
It's not just the, exactly. And the second thing is, if you are a Christian, then you have God's grace. And once you actually repent, which means turn away from that sin, then it no longer matters to God. And we offer each other grace. So even if you make a mistake, I'll say make a mistake. Even if you make a mistake, once you repent, once you truly are repentful, then I don't want to necessarily say it does not matter, but to God, it says God forgives your sin as far as the east is from the west. Mm-hmm. So it's just, he's not going to remember it. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. So that's not necessarily a good argument for a Christian. Like, if someone's not a Christian, then sure, that's probably a great argument. But like, if you're a Christian, like, okay, and she's repented and she has turned away. Now, this is an example of, and this is something I'm working on in my life. When you have a sin and you say, I'm sorry, God, and then you go back and do the same thing, and you keep going back and do the same thing. There's a difference between doing that and like, you know what, God, I am truly sorry. I keep messing up. Help me. I do not want to continue doing this, and continually going back and forth. So that was one of the critiques I wanted to say. Another critique is this guy. I sometimes started watching his videos because of he did like a video on Brittany Dawn, and he did a video critiquing this video. So he's a former pastor, and he's deconstructing, which, everyone pray for. I have a couple of friends that have and that are deconstructing, and everybody needs to be praying for their deconstructing friends, because you can deconstruct two separate ways. And I will say my friends that have deconstructed to the atheist side, agnostic atheist side. But anyway, so he's deconstructing, and he's very open about that. He made a comment that I just thought was so interesting. He said that abortion isn't a topic that we should be talking about. Like, it's such a taboo. I'm surprised they did that. It's such a taboo. Like, we really shouldn't be talking about it. And I think that is so dangerous. I think that's like a wrong mindset to have. Also, too, like, if you truly believe your stance on abortion, you should be talking about it. If you truly believe abortion is murder, then you should be talking about it. Just like we don't stay silent when we talk about other things that are going on. That's the part that's kind of strange to me, is like, if you truly believe abortion is murder, because he did say he believes life begins at conception. He said he did believe that, but he said that he can't tell someone what to do, which is, to me, that's kind of a cop-out. But my thing is, like, if you feel that way, then you shouldn't be speaking up when someone hurts somebody. You shouldn't even be speaking up with Cole and Sav with this video, because, I mean, if
you should be talking about it while you're creating content, you talk about it.
Right. Like, if you truly feel that way. So to me, that just seems a little bit like, and I'm just curious, like, it's just interesting that this is the one topic. Like, no one would say that about human trafficking.
Yeah.
Like, no one would say, I mean, you know, I do believe human trafficking is wrong, but there are some people who like it. And I can't get involved. We shouldn't talk about it. It's too awful. We shouldn't talk about it. Like, there's no one says that. So that's so interesting to me.
Well, and I want to add too, it's like, because if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, Savannah wasn't like that strong in her faith until after she had Everly. Like, when she got pregnant, she wasn't that.
I think that's
what?
true. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
you're
if
right.
I recall,
so
like, she got pregnant and then like decided to be a mom, and she got stronger in her faith like after. And like Cole's always been crazy strong in his faith, and so like, you know, they're strong in their faith, and they've openly talked about their faith. Why would you expect them to be pro-abortion?
Right. And that's the thing too. I was like, their audience that, like, apparently there's a bunch of TikToks, because someone I was listening to, I couldn't even finish hers. Hers was like, not trying to be mean, but hers was just so whiny. She was like, yeah, and there's a bunch of people on TikTok who are like unsubscribing. I'm like, did you really think that they, like, were you subscribed before? They're like recording themselves unsubscribed. I'm like, I bet they subscribed and then like unsubscribed for the video.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, did you not know? How would you not know? But I think that was such an amazing thing for them to do. I'm very grateful. I really think it's career suicide. I'm just waiting for YouTube to be like, and that's that.
Yeah.
Your channel is done.
So what was, like, I mean, they didn't scream pro-life, right? It was more like, why can't we just love them both? It wasn't.
I will say.
Go ahead.
So I forgot to mention this. They had a doctor on to explain that life began at conception and to explain what happens during an abortion. And he was a former abortionist, I believe. And they had another doctor on that explained that, like, there's never a medical necessary reason to have an abortion. Because that's one of the lies that people say. That's why you can feel confident in saying you believe in no abortion, you're anti-abortion with no exceptions, because there is never a medical necessity for someone to have an abortion. So, I mean, I think that's obviously pro-life to even say, like, to say that. So, I mean, YouTube might not, but I'm thinking about, like, sponsors, especially because everyone's arguments were that it was a kids channel, and this guy, now this is
their channel is a kids channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kid-friendly content.
Well, here's the thing. This guy, he broke down who watches. It's kids and grown men, which is like really gross. But it's kids and grown men. That's the breakdown. You know, you can get like those systems to see like who's done this and who's watched that. Like what is the main audience? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think they don't show an actual abortion. They do show a baby growing, which I think was fine. Like, I don't think it's like a terrible thing for an 8-year-old to watch.
And I think they did it to where it is kid friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. So YouTube might not, but I am like sponsors. I'm sure there's everybody that sponsors them has probably been bombarded with emails and stuff, because people were very like, if you Google colon salve, or Google, if you go to YouTube and type in colon salve, after that video, if it even pops up, because you know YouTube has changed the algorithm on them. Obviously, it was expected. If the video doesn't pop up, you'll see response to colon salve. Colon salve did what? Colon salve are evil. A lot of people were upset. I watched like legit like 10 videos about it. And I'm waiting for Mr. Atheist. I want to see what he has to say, because he's been very bitter lately. I don't know if anybody watches Mr. Atheist. Jacqueline Glenn did one within hours, which I was kind of not surprised, but kind of surprised. I think she was the first one to do a video about it. If you guys watch any of that atheist content to keep up with what the other side is doing, I started doing that a couple years ago, and I find it so fascinating. Which kind of transitions to people are very, 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 very upset over all of these new anti-abortion laws that we're having. There's a lot of legislation that's being passed. So Vic, you want to read? It's kind of a good chunk, but we can do the first and then kind of break it down.
This is from the New York Times. Florida governor signed a law banning most abortions after 15 weeks. It is part of a cascade of restrictive abortion legislation in Republican-led states. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida on Thursday signed into law a ban on most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, severely restricting access to the procedure in a state that has long been a refuge for women from across the South. The new law, which takes effect on July 1st, is modeled after a similar abortion ban in Mississippi that the U.S. Supreme Court appears poised to uphold. It contains expectations only in cases where an abortion is necessary to save the life of the mother or prevent serious injury, or if the fetus has a fatal abnormality. The new Florida law is the latest in a cascade of restrictive abortion legislation proposed in Republican-led states. On Wednesday, lawmakers in Kentucky overturned the governor's veto of a measure restricting abortions after 15 weeks and prohibiting providers from offering abortions until they can meet certain requirements. Which states have introduced legislation banning abortions? Abortion bans have been introduced in 30 states this year, according to the Guttmacher, whatever that is, Institute.
Guttmacher.
A research group that supports abortion rights. Bans have passed at least one legislative chamber in 7 states: Arizona, Idaho, Wyoming, Florida, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and West Virginia, and they've been enacted in 6 of those states: Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Arizona, Idaho, and Wyoming. What we're seeing right now is the buildup of decades where states' legislatures have been adopting restriction after restriction. Now they're moving to adopt ban after ban, said Elizabeth Nash, state policy analyst for the, how do you say it? Guttmacher Institute. She said the legislation reflected the efforts of increasingly conservative state legislatures moving to take advantage of rightward shifts in the courts. Several states have so-called trigger bans, which will make abortion illegal if Roe is overturned or scaled back. All of the legislation proposed so far is likely to be enacted, Ms. Nash said, but some efforts may face court challenges. In Idaho, for example, an abortion ban modeled on that of Texas was set to take effect on April 22nd, but was temporarily blocked by the Idaho Supreme Court on Friday. Planned Parenthood said on Tuesday that it would challenge any abortion ban enacted in Oklahoma, even as they passed more far-reaching bans. States have not let up passing other restrictions, including waiting periods and parental consent laws. On Tuesday, a judge in Florida allowed a 24-hour waiting period that abortion rights groups had spent 7 years attempting to block.
Great things. Thank you for, I know you're probably out of breath. Great things for those of us in the anti-abortion social club. A lot of states have really been moving forward. I mean, for example, the 15-week ban, that's great. That's not enough, but that's great. That's great. We can, and there are a lot of arguments over incrementalism, especially if you're a Christian, that we can get into we can do a whole nother episode on that. But I think that right now this is a good start, and this is something to be happy and proud of. And it just also shows, because like on the news last night, shout out to Savannah, she was there when the signing, the Ohio one, I believe, they were talking about
not the Savannah and Cole we just talked about.
No, sorry, Savannah was Students for Life. She was, I saw her in the background when they were signing the law, and they're on the news on not Inside Edition, World News Tonight with David Muir. They were like, yeah, and now a lot of states are having these abortion bans or women's restrictive something. And you can tell people are like, the pro-aborts are very scared. Like you can tell that they're like, oh gosh, this is really happening. And it, to me, like, I'm just like, yeah, that's good. Like when the other side is scared, that's good. And that just reminds us, that we need to be ready, in the sense of, I hope everyone listening, you are somehow connected with your local pregnancy resource center, whether it's donating. If you can donate $10, I'll be completely transparent. The most I can do at this time in my life is $10, and I do $10 every month. Not a lot, but it's not nothing.
It
we
buys
can all
a
give
box
what we
of
can.
tampons.
If you mean if they're pregnant, they don't need tampons.
Well,
so diapers.
Whatever. Well, I thought they also provide, like, doesn't pregnancy resource centers like also provide like women care too?
Yeah, I mean that's true.
That's
like
what
if
I
they
was
need
thinking.
to get, like, I think if something happens and you need a tampon, I'm sure they'll have it. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so like the idea though is just to do something, time. If you can't do money, time. I know that our the one in Charlotte, the Cabarrus Women's Center is Cabarrus and U City, they're having a walk May 14th. I need to get on in a month from now. I want to have I want to help with that, like help with just using your time, go for the walk, raise some money. Like, we can do this. Like this, if you're anti-abortion, this is what we need to be doing. We got to be ready. I noticed North Carolina was not on that list. I didn't expect it to be.
We can't get a veto override. That's the issue. Like, yeah, I know we tried, was it last year or the year before? When was the Born Alive
2 years. That was, I think that was like 3 years at this point, maybe 4.
No, because I was back in North Carolina. I don't remember. I think it was 2 years ago.
It definitely wasn't.
Well, they tried doing it with
years.
the Born Alive bill where, like, if a baby is born alive from, like, a botched abortion, it would require the doctor to save it. And, like, the governor vetoed that.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It makes no sense. It's also, I really don't. I wish someone would write an article to explain, like, why you would be against that, but I haven't seen anything. Like, I don't understand. Even if you're pro-choice, I don't understand why you would be against. If the baby was already born alive, then just save it. Like, that to me makes no sense. And that, to me, that also shows you're not really pro-choice. You're just
pro-vote.
Anti-life. Yeah. Or wait, what'd you say?
Pro-votes.
Yeah. I mean, that too. I also, so since we're talking about voting, I want to add everyone that this is why it's important to vote pro-life first. It's also important. May 17th in North Carolina is our primary. It's a
lot of other
this very seriously
too.
Yeah, I want to say Texas is May 24th. No, sorry, Virginia is May 24th.
I will have it up on That Political Georgia. Life under like a voter tab. I haven't gotten to it yet, but that's going to be up on That Political Life.
Okay, that's smart. And maybe I might make a post on our page too, even put it in the story. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll start a whole like voting story thing for it too, just for people to have. I want to say either Virginia or Georgia is May 24th because I was helping my friend with that. And she didn't know where she was registered, if it was Virginia or Georgia. Anyway, that's beside the point. But that's why it's so important on who we elect and who we vote for. These laws would not be passed if people did not vote for people who were pro-life and who want pro-life legislation, who's supporting pro-life legislation. It's so important, everyone, to vote pro-life first and to be serious about your vote. We have a Senate race in North Carolina that's coming up that is going to be so important. You know, when you go, we're not going to endorse anybody just yet. But when you go and you are casting your vote, or when you mail your vote because you're doing absentee, it's so important to vote with, I don't want to say your heart because that sounds so cheesy, but like, just vote with your values. That's what I mean. Vote with your values. Don't care about what anybody else says. You don't have to tell anybody. It's your right not to tell someone who you voted for. Also, too, I mean, you can say you voted for Bob and you really voted for Mary Sue. No one knows. I mean, I don't think you should lie, but you don't have to tell anyone. And you don't, I hate to say, you don't even have to tell the truth. But when you go there, you have to vote with your values. It's so important. These wonderful laws that are going to be great, especially these trigger laws, because in the next couple of weeks, we are going to know the results of Dobbs. Super excited for it. We're going to know the results of Dobbs in the next couple of weeks. And once we know the results, a lot of things are going to change in this country. And, I know the other thing I was going to say. And then I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm sure Vic has some stuff to say. Okay, so also, too, when I was looking, you know, I get on Twitter. Sometimes I'm on Twitter to look for topics to talk about. Sometimes I'm on Twitter because I'm bored. Sometimes I'm on Twitter because I want to learn something, or I want to get, okay, what's the latest going on X, Y, and Z? Because everything happens on Twitter first. So if you're not on Twitter, highly recommend it. The left, pro-aborts, people not on our side are so angry. This will probably be the most turnout for a midterm that's ever happened. People are so angry. So that means we cannot slack off. Like, we cannot allow them to be the most at turnout. We cannot allow that, y'all. We cannot allow it. I just want to say that, like, take this very seriously. You have to vote. The left is going to vote. Pro-aborts are going to vote because they're angry. All of these things that we're doing are fantastic, but they're angry. They're going to vote. We need to make sure that we are voting. All right, Vic, did you want to add anything else?
If you do not know when you're, what to do, like register to vote, or like when your primary is, you could just Google, like, what is my primary election date for your state. Also, you could also go to usvotefoundation.org. They have some information. And then IamVoter.com also has information, but they're like a left-leaning group. But they do have some good resources. I'm trying to essentially create like a more like unbiased like access to people like to like vote, if that makes sense. Like, they're definitely like you scream left, but I want to create like an option for people to kind of like figure out their voter information without me telling you to vote as a Democrat like they do.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you who to vote for when I provide you resources.
Yeah. Well, I am. I'm telling you. No, I'm just joking. I'm not telling you either. I just want you to vote your values.
Yes, vote your values.
That, I think, is so important. I think sometimes people get caught up in like trying to vote, you know, because so-and-so said they should vote this way, or not even knowing their values. Mm-hmm. So they just kind of do whatever. We all need to vote our values. Yep. Okay. Quick mid-roll ad. This next segment is brought to you by Living Like Co. You can go to litlco.com and use our code THOSEGIRLS to get 10% off of any of their cute apparel. They have t-shirts, they have scrunchies, they have accessories. I think she released jewelry as well. So I think that's pretty cool. All of that is on their website. It's 100% spiritually based. They do not cave to cancel culture. And you're helping a small business. These are some tough times. We should be helping small businesses.
Yep.
All right.
I will say my mouth dropped because I did not know about the story. Then it's next one.
You did not know the story?
They didn't talk about it on the Toast. That's where I get all my celebrity news.
Oh,
It must have just come out.
I want to talk about the story so badly.
All right, so this is from Yahoo News or Yahoo.com. Kim Kardashian's son Saint saw an ad of Kim and Ray J's sex tape on Roblox, and Kim said she's suing. Sorry, I gotta catch my breath. The Los Angeles Times reported that the first episode covers the awkward moment when Kim and Kanye's okay, so that's why they didn't talk about this. So this was from the first episode of the Kardashians new show on Hulu.
Yes.
Which I kind of want to watch. I've never been a Kardashian fan.
So I watched it this morning.
Okay, I did not care for Keeping Up, but since becoming a toaster, I now care about the Kardashians. And
I finished the story and then I'll tell you.
Watch. Okay.
I have something to say about that. Yeah.
The Los Angeles Times reported that the first episode covers the awkward moment when Kim and Kanye's 5-year-old son Saint saw a pop-up ad for Kim and her ex Ray J's infamous sex tape on Roblox. Saint showed it to Kim during a family barbecue, and she was obviously mortified. Kim then phoned her lawyer, Marty Singer, while packing for her SNL hosting appearance with Chris, Chloe, and Courtney.
Yeah,
that's awful.
That's terrible. And I don't want to say that like I'm a big Kardashian fan. Like I don't want to make it seem like
we're not obsessed, but
we're not like Jackie and Claudia. Like they're obsessed, but I mean they're culturally relevant.
Did you
listen? Whether we want to or not, they're culturally relevant.
I would recommend. I listened to. Did you see from Dear Media? Not skinny, not fat.
I was going to listen to that today.
It was such a good podcast. Like Kim was so open about so much, and I loved what she said. Like about like so she said about like her relationship with Kanye because she's like oh god, I'm blanking on the host. I'm blanking on her name. I think it's Amanda, but the host was like I don't want to talk about it, but you can if you want to. She's like I love Kanye, and I know he's going through something rough, and I'm just trying to give him grace. It's essentially like what she said. It was just like a really beautiful thing, she's like, we're gonna figure this out eventually. Eventually we'll get good again, but right now, like we're just not good right now, but we'll get good again. Yeah. It's just hard not being good with everyone watching you. It was just like really like it was like a 40-minute interview, and I'm like, this is great.
Wow. Yeah. And I think whether we like the Kardashians or not, because I know some people probably like clicked that like, ugh, they're talking about the Kardashians, whatever. I think that this is a cultural, they're in the culture, and we're going to change culture. We can't make, we have to talk about culture. We're going to change culture.
Okay, do you think deep down they're pro-life?
I think that they are pro-life for themselves, but I think they're pro-life for themselves, and they recognize that life begins at conception. I don't know if
they're not going to scream it, but like, I mean, think about
they're never going to say it. I don't think
there are, and like, I mean, especially like with Kylie's pregnancy, and like, honestly, Kim's pregnancy too, like, because like her life was at risk for I think both North and Saint.
North and Saint,
and she like went through with the pregnancy instead of being like, okay, like maybe you should consider aborting and then doing the surrogacy route.
I definitely think they're personally.
I think they're personally pro-life 100%. Too.
I think they're personally pro-life, but I don't necessarily know if they would be like if they would say that abortion should be illegal, which. If you're personally pro-life, or if you're pro-life, then the next logical step is that abortion should be illegal. So I don't think they would go as far as to say that, but I do think they're personally pro-life, and they probably do recognize
because apparently they're very religious. I mean, they don't scream it, but apparently they're also very religious.
That is what I heard. I think that, but there's a difference between. I don't necessarily want to get into this, but there's a difference between being religious and having a relationship. I mean. The Bible talks about how people will get to heaven and people will be like, God, I did X, Y, and Z. And God will be like, go away, I never knew you. So like you can be and I'm not saying this is them, I'm just saying like when people are like, yeah, so-and-so's religious, that doesn't really move me because you can follow the Bible literally says you can do X, Y, and Z, but God will just be like, you didn't have a relationship, so I don't, bye, don't know you. So I don't know, like, I mean, there's a lot of people who just go through the motions, and I mean, the Bible also says we will know other Christians by their fruit. I'm not quite sure what fruit, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like, I always want to say that because I feel like sometimes I come off judgmental, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just saying, like, I haven't really seen any fruit of a relationship with Jesus, but it's quite possible they could.
Yeah.
But back to the comment at hand, the reason why I want to talk about the story is just how sad it is that this tape, and just to remind everybody, like, on this side of Earth, you can do, I mean, I think we talked about it like, what, 20, 30 minutes ago about grace. On this side of Earth, you can do anything, and as Christians, we need to offer people grace, especially when they repent. But the world might not. I mean, I hate to say it, the world might not. It's so sad that happened 5 ever ago, and people are still doing it. Also, too, hello, get your kid off that app. I don't know anything about Roblox. I didn't know about it until literally I saw the story. And part of the reason why I watched the episode this morning before I watched Teen Titans, so good, hilarious. Before I watched that, I watched the episode. The part of the reason was because I saw that they talked about it on the show, and I was like, I want to see how they handled it. And it was like for 5 minutes. It wasn't even the whole episode, but that's just so sad. It's still haunting her. That's why we always got to be careful, like, what we do, who we do it with. I just cannot imagine, like, oh God, I feel so bad for her. That must feel awful, especially if she truly has repented. That's the thing too. Like, if she was one of those people like, yeah, it's out there. Who cares? I'll show my son myself. Like, if she was like that, I wouldn't feel that bad. But you can tell she feels shame, and she feels like, you know what? I should not have done that. She feels repentant. So it's just, to me, that's the sad part about it. Like, and to send it to a child. And what was so crazy about this, it didn't say in the article, but when you read other things, Satan had no idea what it was. So he was like, so it was a picture of her crying, and then it said something like, new part of Kim's sex tape is out. So he has his iPad, and he's like, oh my goodness, look, mommy, look. Said something like, that's you, look, mommy. And she's like, okay, let me see. And then she's like, oh my God, Chloe, can you look at this? And it's just like, I felt so bad for her. And the kid, he's just like, look at this. And he's so cute. Everything he does, like, he always has a smile on his face.
Which one is your favorite?
Saint.
So Saint's your favorite Kim Kardashian kid?
Saint's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love North's sass. She's just like
she scares me. But okay.
She's gonna be like a boss babe, like, when she grows up. Because did you see the I think Kim was on Ellen, and they're talking about like the Vogue cover or Vogue interview that she did, and like all the pictures with the kids. She's like, yeah, like all the kids came out wearing like black, and they look very chic, and North is like, this is boring, we're not wearing this, and took all the kids in and styled them herself. Like, she went in their closets, and like,
cute.
So like those really cute, like, organic pictures Kim has of her kids from Vogue is styled by North.
I did not know that. That's cute. Okay. She still scares me because every interview she seems so moody and upset.
She's sassy.
Sassy I kind of associate with like Dream. Have you ever seen Dream and Chloe stories? Also,
no.
2 seconds
Dream,
you got.
You're thinking True. Dream is Rob's kid.
No. I know, and she spends like 90% of time at Chloe's house because she is always with True.
Okay.
Let me say this really quick. This is like a segue. So a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you saw this, but Black China tweeted something like, I had to get rid of 3 of my cars because I'm a single mother working without anybody's help. Okay, so she said that. Well, Tyga, who is the father of the first son, was like, what do you mean? I have my kid 6 days a week. Why would I be paying you child support?
Yeah.
I pay X amount. And then Rob goes, I don't understand. I have my child like Tuesday to Sunday, 5 days a week. Why would and I pay this X amount for school. Why would I why would I pay you child support? And then Tyga was like, wait, why do you pay less for school? It's so funny to me because it's like, wow, she's doing all that whining and complaining. And she literally has her kids for less than a weekend. One of the kids, she literally gets 1 day a week. That's crazy.
That's interesting.
But
like,
that
I
makes
wonder,
sense.
like, she has like some issues, right?
Oh, she definitely has issues.
Well, I mean, has it been like confirmed like she has issues or
like a mental issue?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that, but she has something's definitely wrong with her. Like, I mean, she's crazy. She's suing them too for ending the show, and I think that's hilarious because
like which show? Like, I know like her and Rob had like a show for like a hot minute.
Yep.
That one?
Yep, her and Rob's show. And it's like, if you're not with the Kardashian, why on earth? Yeah, if you're not with the Kardashian, why on earth would they keep your show? Like, that doesn't...
I wonder if she was just like with Rob to
people
get
weren't
clout,
tuning in
because I have like no idea who she is
name.
if she wasn't with Rob.
You froze. Hello. You froze. Okay, well, I'll keep talking. Hopefully she'll come back to us.
Oh no.
What was I saying? But yeah, the Rob and Tyga, that to me with Black Mirror, that was hilarious. But back to Saint. Well, back to Saint. Seeing that's just really sad. I think it also sorry, she texted me. So you frozen my end. I think my internet down. Yeah, you're frozen here too. I'll keep the show going. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if it's gonna. No, it probably won't have this little. No, it won't have that on. It'll just. Okay, she's almost here, y'all. She's almost back. But yeah, so what I was saying is like also too, like I feel like you should. I don't know anything about that Roblox, but you're back.
Yeah. So we have Google Fiber, which is great, but because the speeds are so high, sometimes it just overloads everything.
That's what moving to a new place will do. Y'all.
Did we lose again?
Mess up your internet sometimes. Gosh. Let me tell her you're frozen. I don't know if this Roblox is, but get your kids off of it. That's another thing that, like, why would someone send that? Why would they be talking about sex tapes? Also, too, like, that's another weird thing. Why are they talking about sex tapes on Roblox for kids? That's inappropriate. Oh, another Victoria is coming on. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
I don't know why there's three
I
of
can
me
hear
or
you.
two of you now.
That's really funny. I
get the other one out.
Yeah. Can you exit out?
Oh no! Oh my god. Okay.
Let me see. This.
Oh,
is
there we go. We're
two.
We're one. We're one.
Okay.
Victoria now.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So we have Google Fiber, and sometimes because this is what Sebastian told me. I don't know. I don't know. He said because like it's so quick that and like the technology's so new that sometimes like it just works too much in the system. The internet kind of like spazzes out.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I just thought of this. I wonder if it'll upload the first half of this or the first beginning of this podcast because you exited out. And you're frozen again.
Why does it keep doing this?
Okay. 1 second. You're okay. You moved. Okay. I think you're good. Are you talking? Because I can't hear you. You're frozen. Because I'm now concerned. Well, that's okay. You know what? It's all
okay. We gotta wrap this up. I'm here for it.
Okay. Well, I just thought of this. You know, with the new system, I wonder if it'll upload the part.
It is uploading. So it did tell me. Said, "Don't worry, we're holding it.
Okay,
we'll upload it."
Okay.
So like I'm at like 10%. 14, 13 right now. So cross our fingers.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to say about the Kardashian thing? And then I wanted to wrap it up with our Good Friday Easter message.
No, but you go ahead because I'm really scared it might lose me again.
Okay. All right. So our Good Friday Easter OG Jesus moment is brought to you by Culture of Life 1972. If you head over to Culture of Life 1972 and you click or you use the code Those Are the Girls 1972, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. 100% of the purchase goes to pro-life causes. All right, here we go. Okay, so I want to play like a clip from this video that I heard that they showed us in high school, that every Good Friday I always think of this, and like we in high school would just say this all the time. But here we go, really quick, and then I have some verses I want to read, and then we'll wrap it up.
It's Friday. Jesus is praying. Peter's sleeping. Judas is betraying. But Sunday's coming. It's Friday. Pilate's struggling. The council is conspiring. The crowd is vilifying. They don't even know that Sunday's coming. It's Friday. The disciples are running like sheep without a shepherd. Mary's crying. Peter is denying. But they don't know that Sundays are coming. It's Friday. The Romans beat my Jesus. They robe him in scarlet. They crown him with thorns. But they don't know that Sunday's coming. It's Friday. See Jesus walking to Calvary. His blood dripping. His body stumbling. And his spirit's burdened. But you see, it's only Friday. Sunday's coming.
I'll link it so you can watch the whole video. It's 3 minutes, and I know you guys probably don't want to listen to it 3 minutes. But I just think about that every Good Friday, obviously, because it's Friday, Sunday's coming. And it's just like, I don't know. It puts a lot of things into perspective. And this year, Easter just feels different for me personally. I don't know if anyone else. You know, sometimes with our relationship with God, I talked about this in my episode with Noelle that'll come out, I think, Tuesday. With your relationship with God, it just goes up and down because we're just sinful people. There's nothing we can do about that. It's who we are. Well, we can try to fight it, but it's who we are. Like, it goes up and down, and sometimes we're in seasons where we might feel closer to God. We're in seasons where we might feel even more distant from God. But either way, we need to continue to read our Bibles. We need to continue to pray. We need to continue to praise and worship. Like, no matter how close we feel to God, we still have to do that. And, you know, I feel like for me this year, I'm feeling a lot closer just in some of the other personal things that are going on in my life. It's just one of those times where you have to like hold on and grasp. And when you think about the cross, about how Jesus sacrificed his life for us, for me, for you, just so you can know him, that is, I mean, when you truly sit down and think about it, it's an honor. It's so humbling, because when you think about how many times we mess up, how awful humans we can be, it's such a humbling thing. So there's 3 verses I want to read really quick, just to think about on Saturday and Sunday going into Easter. John 3:16. I think we all know this one, but I'm reading from the ESV. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. And when we think about that, oh no, my battery's almost dead. When we think about that, that just, to me, it just shows his great love for us. He loves us so much so that nobody will perish, that whoever believes in him, you have to believe in him. That's the other thing too. You have to believe in him. So, take with that what you will. But if you do, you will not perish. Vic, can you talk about John 3:16 really quick? Let me get my charger. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yes. So I will say John 3:16. I really like that verse in particular. Like, I just makes me think of like Tim Tebow and how when he was playing football, especially at Florida during their national championship, he had put John 3:16 on his eye black, like the thing that goes like right underneath his eyes. And that's what I really like think about when you hear John 3:16 and how that simple act caused millions of people to Google what is John 3:16 just because Tim Tebow put eye black on when he was on the biggest stage in college football. And so, I mean, first off, it's a beautiful verse. It really encompasses what like being a Christian and Christianity. It's kind of like our whole religion is based off, in my opinion, that verse alone. And so for Tim Tebow to kind of put like the eye black on and like that simple act caused so many people to really look up that verse and probably become Christians themselves. And so I think that verse and like that act is just a good reminder. It's just like, you don't have to like scream across the rooftops, like, and do everything, like, regardless whether it's like something like sharing the gospel or sharing your views on pro-life or whatever, that like one simple act, if you have that opportunity, can make a huge difference.
That's so good. And it, like you said, it is the pinnacle of the gospel. John 3:16 is what it's all surrounded by. I think that also, I used to wonder, like, why is that like the one verse every Christian knows when you're like 5? But it's really just encompassing of the whole gospel.
I think that's Jesus like that's your base of Christianity. Like, if you don't have that verse in your life, then like, are you Christian? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't believe wholeheartedly like that verse, then I guess what's the point?
Yeah. Oh, that's good. The other one I want to read is Isaiah 53. I'm gonna start at verse 2, and I'll read till 7, I believe. So for he grew up before him like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground, and he had no form of majesty that we should look at him, no beauty that we should despise him. He was despised and rejected by man, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one with whom men hid their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he had bore our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was a chastisement and brought us peace. And with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, and we have turned every one to his own way. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like sheep that before its shears it was silent, so he opened not his mouth. A couple of things. One of the beautiful things about the gospel, about the Bible in general, is like, if you ever do a Bible study over it, you can see how Jesus was predicted. Like what all that happened to Jesus, this was in Isaiah, so this was the Old Testament. Isaiah predicted what would happen in the future to Jesus. And it's just, when you think about all of this, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, like a sheep that before its shears are silent, he opened not his mouth. When you just think about that, that's just so beautiful. Like, God did all of that for me. He did all of that for you so that we could have eternal life with him. And I don't know, I wanted you guys to just think of these verses the next couple of days as we go into Easter, as we recognize that Jesus has risen. We don't have to make sacrifices anymore on altars. We don't have to do anything fancy because he's forgiven us. Jesus has risen. I just wanted you guys to remember that. Happy Easter. Happy Good Friday. I pray that everyone And if you're listening and you're not a Christian, I pray that you will use what we talked about just now to maybe explore more. If you want to reach out to us, if you have a good Christian friend that you know and trust, you just want to ask them questions, I think this is a good time to do that, to explore. Anything you want to say about that, Vic?
No, just happy Easter. I hope everyone has a blessed Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter. If you enjoyed this episode, before I say that, I also wanted to say I'm wearing Hope Beauty red lipstick, the Rahab. Also, too, if you like the necklace that I'm wearing, if you're watching on YouTube, please let me know. 4 reasons. Wink, wink. Let me know if you like it or if you're like, oh, that's hideous. I really would like everyone's opinion on the necklace I'm wearing. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe. Tell all your friends. Share this. It was a heavy anti-abortion episode. Also, I feel like it was kind of Christian-y as well. So share. Don't tell them that's what it's about. And like I said, make sure you rate, review, subscribe. Tell all your friends. Head over to our merch store. Buy some merch. We have a lot of, I mentioned it last week, we have some really cool things coming up that I cannot wait for you all to see. Alrighty, bye.
Bye, guys.